Hey, bro. Bro, are you ready to do the podcast?
You've got to be kidding me. I can't believe that.
What's going on?
Vince wants money from me because I said the R word 16 times in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, I knew that might come back to bite us in the ass.
I mean, you know what, Vince? Here's your money. Cue the intro.
The following presentation has been brought to you by HSF Productions.
The Impromptu Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Jeff and David.
Hey guys, welcome back to IWP, the Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tally006. Over to my left, as always, is my brother Damien. How's it going this week?
It's Friday, man. I'm having a cold beer. No worries in the world.
No worries in the world. I mean, we always take a little bit of time to talk about some current events. How about our boy Connor Hellebuck, Vezina Trophy winner, baby?
Can you believe that? That Winnipeg actually gets some recognition from anyone? It's fantastic.
If I'm being honest, I can't believe it. He's had a lot better years before. Like, this was a low point in his career this year. But it's good that he got it.
Well, I mean, he still had really good numbers considering the amount of injuries the Jets had.
Yeah, for sure.
He kept them in the playoff race, I felt.
It's almost like the voting committee. They're like, dude, he's putting up numbers and he's got no defense. Like, we got to give it to him.
Right.
I'm not sure what the other goalies' numbers were, but I mean, it's well deserved. It's a little too late, if anything, but it is what it is. So yeah, big news: Winnipeg Jets goalie Connor Hellebuck, Vezina Trophy winner, best goalie in the league during the regular season. Big news. Other big news again. We've said this last week. We are now live on podcast services, wherever you get your podcasts. We're probably on it now. We got Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts soon to come, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Breaker, and Google Podcasts now. We've been having some troubles finding ourselves on Google Podcasts. I got the email saying that it's good to go, but I think we might need to get one more upload in there just so that it has something to recognize yet. So we'll see how that goes next week. Any Android users out there, let us know if you can find us on Google Podcast. Sure. And also, if you want to check out our website, our blog page, if you want, it is iwpodcast.blogspot.com. So go check us out there. There will be our episode posts and any news that we feel like our community needs to know will be up there for sure. But we got a big show. We got some Breaking Kayfabe as always. BTE, AEW Dark, Late Night Dynamite, which we'll get to talk to about what was happening there, what we think, what was Tony Khan thinking. And then, of course, Wednesday Night Dynamite, as always. Some big implications coming out of this Dynamite. I mean, we'll get to it right here in Breaking Kayfabe and how it affects Dynamite. So let's get right into the show.
Let's do
it. So some news broke like early Wednesday morning. For anybody who watched Tuesday night, this Late Night Dynamite, which we'll get to later, they were still advertising the 6-man tag match. Lance Archer, FTW champion Brian Cage, Absolute Ricky Starks versus AEW champion Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, and Will Hobbs. Holy
Will
shit.
Hobbs, yeah.
He
is willpower, though.
Yeah, he is willpower. So as of Tuesday night, they were still advertising this match. So this news broke really early Wednesday morning. Lance Archer himself tweets out, "When I returned from our last show, a family member was ill when I got home. I found out later a friend who had taken my family member to the vet for our dachshund was COVID positive. While at home now, I've also gotten sick, tested positive. I feel okay. Expect to see me in 2 weeks." So that's kind of a big deal. It's nothing new. When Renee Young tested positive, John Moxley stayed at home. Similar situation. He was back in a couple weeks. It was no big deal. This time, Lance himself has the virus. He's staying home. Says he's feeling great. I guess we'll see when it comes to that anniversary show if we're still going to get that title shot. If that title match will be able to go as planned. But just so everybody's on the same page here, the 6-man tag was scrapped, rightfully so, for this Wednesday's Dynamite. It was replaced. It was, announced that it was being replaced with Eddie Kingston getting an AEW championship title shot, which is big because this, happy accident. It kind of all fits into the story and the narrative that he's been telling, how he wasn't eliminated from the Battle Royale. So, I like it. It's a great move. What did you think of all this?
Yeah, it's, feel bad for for everyone involved here, because this was setting up to be, really good match going into this anniversary edition where we were going to have Lance and Moxley go at it. Kind of hurts the momentum a little bit, but like you said, the people at Creative, whether it's Tony Khan or Cody or whatever, incorporating Kingston into this as it almost didn't even feel like a replacement. It just felt like the most logical thing to do, considering who couldn't come into work.
Right, for sure. If I feel bad for anybody in this whole situation, it's Will Hobbs. You're finally going to get your big main event. You've been working really hard through the pandemic era, as we call it, jobbing out to guys who are a quarter of his size. This is your shot, your chance, and it kind of gets taken away from you in a way. But we'll talk about it when we get to that moment in the night. He does still kind of get his spot. So this is just props to AEW Creative for taking a bad situation, working through it, giving us the logical response, as you put it, and it all makes sense. And we'll talk about it more for sure as the show goes on. One more piece of news here. This also broke Wednesday, I believe, or Tuesday. It was early Tuesday afternoon, because she had a match on Dark, which we'll talk about. Serena Deeb is hashtag All Elite. She signed the, pen to paper, hashtag All Elite. What did you think of this signing?
I like it. I think it adds another experienced female wrestler to the roster. And I think, if I remember correctly, you said that Serena was a coach during her time at WWE. So if she's able to bring the less experienced female wrestlers up to speed, better, that kind of thing, then it's better for the entire division.
Yeah, for sure. That veteran presence, as people will say, it's important to a team. Essentially AEW, they're all working for the same side. If we can break kayfabe here for a little second, we're all going after the same goal, and that's entertaining the fans, entertaining us as fans. And Serena put on an amazing match against Thunder Rosa that a couple of weeks ago. We were gassing it up. It was match of the night, essentially. yeah, I'm happy about this signing. Some unfortunate news though. She also contracted COVID. She's staying at home for 2 weeks. A little
Okay.
I never heard this. Yeah, it came out on Wednesday. Again, she came home, same situation. She's taking her time off. She's feeling fine as well. She's hopeful, back to action soon. But for that to happen the day after you sign a contract, it's a little sucky.
Right.
It is what it is. All right, let's get right into Being the Elite. This was episode 222, entitled Sue. And I'm already excited to see what's going to happen in this one. I love when the title is just brings you in. What were your overall thoughts on this one?
I was the same way. As soon as I saw Sue, I'm like, I'm on board. This is going to be a fantastic episode because I'm expecting it's going to involve Sue in some way. And if you watched our last episode, you know that we're all about Sue right now.
Sue's over, and that's all there is to it. And we do finally get to see Sue on this episode in a segment with Dark Order. We've seen her work with Dark Order before. It was a little awkward at that time. This one, she felt more comfortable. I don't know. It just worked a little bit better. But there's a funny moment where, Brody Lee's he's yelling at John Silver as always. And Sue kind of interrupts. And, she's like, oh, hey, boys, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I thought maybe you guys were hungry. She brings them food and everybody's super pumped. And, okay, we'll see you later. And she walks out the door and, Brody Lee goes right back to harking on John Silver there, smashes the food all over the place. Sue comes back in and catches, that the food, and she's upset. I bought this food for you guys. What are you doing? You destroyed it. Of course, Brody Lee throws Silver under the bus. Silver doesn't know what to do. Brody gives Sue the papers to hit Silver with, and she went to go throw them. They didn't go anywhere. She broke laughing. I mean, Silver, I think
so did Brody, eh?
Yeah, I think Brody chuckled a little bit too, but he was a little bit quicker to get back on it. But the whole situation was funny. Silver didn't know what to do. He was trying to hold back the laughter, although he's not very good at that. And she picks the papers back up. She throws them in. Brody, you better fucking sell for her. So he lays down and it was so funny, man. It was one of those train wreck bits that you see on SNL every once in a while where nobody can keep it together. Those are the funniest ones. Like, the jokes aren't coming out as written, but it's freaking gold. I loved it.
Because they kept it going, right? Like, it would have been so easy to just, okay, let's stop and do it again. And I think it turned out even better. I'm glad they kept that all in because, it was infectious, the laughing that they were doing in the show.
I wonder if they did do it a couple times, but then it's not as funny when it goes right. So then, they just use the outtake, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. It I don't know, Sue just reminded me of our mom in that moment. She tries to do something, it doesn't quite go as well, and she just breaks out laughing. That's everybody's mom, I feel like.
Yeah. That's why we can relate.
Yeah, for sure. What were some high spots for you in this episode?
Well, first we should mention that this is a short episode, considering the last few been like almost a half an hour. I think that spot with the Dark Order was probably the high spot. There was a lot of vlog stuff. Mm-hmm. Again, the Colt Cabana stuff is not hitting me right now, and I hope that's over now that his face is fixed.
Right.
Probably the second highest spot here was the voodoo thing.
Yeah. Again,
I did not catch on to this. Did you catch on to what was going on here?
No. It took me to the reveal. I'm almost embarrassed to say, but yeah, we got Proud and Powerful. They're just chilling in a lounge area, and we see these voodoo dolls and some well manicured hands are poking and prodding, and then it cuts to Proud and Powerful. They're selling. They don't know what's going on, and finally the camera kind of zooms out, and it's a very sinister looking suit. And
yeah, no laughing at that one.
Sue is hashtag BTE now. Like, are we going to be seeing her every episode? Is she moved to Jacksonville, or is she just traveling with Trent nonstop now? Yeah, I liked it. It opens up for some new bits. They can go places with this, which is always good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, you brought up Colt Cabana there. He's basically Michael Nakazawa now, I guess, is what we're getting out of this. Yeah, you would want to hope that it's over. We're not going to see this anymore, but I think we're just going to see Michael Nakazawa with Colt Cabana overdubbing, like they kind of did in this one, and he'll get into some situations, I'm sure. But yeah,
right. Like, he's gonna walk in, Kenny's gonna think he's Knack, but
yeah,
he's like,
but
no,
Colt.
I'm Colt. Yeah, you're right. We're probably gonna see that for sure.
Maybe we'll end up seeing the old Scooby Doo chasing him, but he's chasing Knack instead. Maybe that's all coming back. Who knows? And then we get kind of the ending here. There's a little bit of a flashback to the super kick on Mike Posey, the $10,000, well, the $20,000 kick at that point. Just replaying what's been happening with the Young Bucks, and it comes back to Matt sitting on his couch, kind of thinking things over, and we get a fade in, a callback to a tweet. I believe it's from like 2015 or something. Like, it was a while ago, and it's from the Young Bucks saying, "We will have a match with the Revival, and it's everybody's gonna want to see it," or something. I can't remember exactly what the tweet says, but I mean, I remember seeing that 5 years ago, and this match is obviously gonna happen at some point. But I like that they're using the BTE vehicle to tease this, while FTR's doing their own thing on Dynamite. I like that. All right, let's get into AEW Dark. This was episode 52. Another supersized Dark, as Excalibur would say. There was a lot of great matches on this card.
There sure was. We had 11 matches. In the first one, we had Fuego del Sol and Rembrandt Lewis versus Dark Order, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. Dark Order going over in this one. This Rembrandt Lewis, I don't remember seeing this guy before.
Me neither.
Was this his debut?
I didn't catch it, but
okay.
I can only assume. I don't recognize him.
Yeah. In the next match, Ricky Starks goes over on Christopher Daniels. I watched this match just because it was two roster regulars, and I thought this was a really good match by Ricky Starks. We've kind of criticized his wrestling in the past, and thought this was a good match, and probably a lot to do with being with the veteran Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, for sure. Christopher Daniels was obviously playing quarterback on during this match, calling the shots. But yeah, Ricky was really good in this match. There was a little iffy spots getting close to the end as they were doing a lot of these false finishes and stuff. Just things weren't really clicking as smoothly as you'd want. But I mean, all in all, it was a great match. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. In match number 3, we had Puff and Calvin Stewart versus Butcher and the Blade, and Butcher and the Blade go over in this one. This is the first time I remember seeing Puff wrestling. We've seen him on the show before, just not in a wrestling capacity that I remember. Do you remember seeing this guy?
He was part of one of the casino battle royale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He moves pretty well for a really big man.
Yeah, for sure.
In match number 4, we have newly signed Will Hobbs versus Serpentico, and Will Hobbs going over in this one. I didn't see this one. Did you?
No, I skipped past this one. I was pretty sure Will was going to.
In match number 5, Lucha Brothers go over on Dante Smiley and Max Stardom.
And so Dante Smiley
the ring names
is
are getting weirder and weirder.
Was Dante Smiley the Kevin Hart character? Because I tried to pay attention. You mentioned one of these guys looked like Kevin Hart. Was that Smiley or?
I can't remember which one it is. Did you go and watch it?
I did. I didn't see it.
All right.
I mean,
he's the one with the shorter one with the fuller beard. I don't know.
Right.
He just reminds me of Kevin Hart.
Anyways,
in match number 6, Ryzen and I guess Xander Gold versus Dark Orders 5 and 10. Dark Order going over in that one. In match number 7, we had Kevin Blackwood and Daniel Garcia, who we've seen probably the last couple of weeks, going up against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. And Joey and Sonny going over in that one. Match number 8, we had the Gun Club versus Mbadu and Cruz. And the Gun Club are on like a streak now.
yeah.
They're like the Kings of Dark.
Are they in the top 5 yet? Like, it's happening.
It's common.
Going to be a 12-time tag team champ soon. Billy Gunn.
In match number 9, we had Kylan King versus Serena Deeb. I definitely watched this one because I like Kylan King, and I thought this was a pretty good match.
Yeah, it was a really solid match. Newly signed Serena Deeb. This match was obviously from the week before, filmed the week before. I know everything looked great. I was so sure Kylan King was gonna pull this one out, but I mean, when you're hashtag all elite, it's almost automatic that you win. But there's a really, really well done false finish there. I thought it was over.
Yeah.
It was a great match. Great match.
In match number 10, we had Lee Johnson, who I feel like we haven't seen wrestle in a while, going up against Ben Carter, who's really getting a push, I feel, these days. And Ben Carter gets his first win in AEW.
Yeah, this was his second match, I believe, according to the records that I saw on Late Night Dynamite, as we'll get to in a bit here. I had never seen this guy before. I watched the Late Night Dynamite match against Scorpio Sky first. Very, very impressive. I had to go back and rewatch this match against Lee Johnson, and like, holy shit, this was a Dynamite caliber match. These two worked really well together. Smaller guys, really agile, fast moving, fast paced match. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was great.
Yeah, and they let them have quite a bit of time. This was a longer match. Sure. Really good stuff. Can't wait to see more of Ben Carter and Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson's really good. In the main event, we had Eddie Kingston versus Brian Pillman Jr. Eddie Kingston going over in this one, but I'm guessing you watched this match because I know you're a Pillman fan.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of this one?
I mean, it's when you tune, if you had never seen any of these guys before, right? This is your first time watching wrestling, or at least seeing these two guys. Who's going over in this match? Like Pillman looks like a professional wrestler. Eddie Kingston looks like, the thug from Brooklyn. I mean, which is his gimmick, so fair enough. But Pillman's always impressive, even when losing. This guy he's the total package, if I could use a cliche. He can sell, he can job out when he needs to. When he had a comeback there later in the match, it's very, very impressive. He's hard hitting. He doesn't pull anything back. This kid's main event all over the place. It's just kind of not his time right now. But I mean, I think I've said these words before. Like, this is a future champion in AEW. I don't want it to happen too soon. You don't want to be that Drew McIntyre back in the day. You don't want to be that Chris Masters. You know, these guys that were champions very, very earlier in their careers, and then, you know, then they have to disappear for a while before they get their comeback. So I'm glad Tony Khan's taking his time with Pillman. I don't even think Pillman's hashtag All Elite yet, but taking his time, taking his time, building them up. Everybody wants to talk about how AEW is just piggybacking on all these ex-WWE guys. You know, oh, you guys said you're going to build your own stars. Well, this is one of those build your own stars guys. Is Brian Pillman Jr. Just wait and see. This guy's going to be the shit in a few years.
Did you feel like this match was a stiff match?
Yeah. Pillman's
Kingston
chest
was just slapping the crap out of him.
When you think of the best choppers in the world, like Ric Flair chops, you know, you got Omega, Chris Benoit, if I'm allowed to say that name, Pac, you know, but these guys, they're brick shit houses. Eddie Kingston is, I don't know, he's got a dad bod, you know what I mean? Like, but man, does he chop the shit. I mean, we're gonna talk about that again later on the Dynamite section of the show. But yeah, Pillman's chest was red. It was red.
But even like the slaps to the face and just, yeah, I kind of had this feeling like, you're the rookie, you know, I'm the 18-year veteran, and you're gonna earn this one kind of thing. And yeah, it was a rough one.
Do they put Pillman in with Kingston to test him a little bit? Do you think? Like,
it's possible. I mean, if they did, like, he stepped up, because I thought it was a good match.
I feel like Pillman Jr. doesn't have anything to prove. You know, I think we know he has what it takes, but, you know, when a match is that stiff, you almost have to think.
Right.
All right. Well, yeah, great episode of Dark. It was a big one again, but a lot of great matches. Especially go check out Kingston versus Pillman Jr. That was really great. And you know, Ben Carter, if you haven't seen Ben Carter work, check him out, because he had two really good matches on the same night, which we'll get to here in a second. Let's talk about this AEW Tuesday late night Dynamite. What's going on here? What are your thoughts? When we were talking earlier, just before we started recording, it sounded like you had something to say, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, last week they announced it, and it was very, hey, late night Dynamite on Tuesday. Not why is there a show on Tuesday, and why is it late night, and why aren't they broadcasting it in Canada? You know, like, all of these things. I totally forgot about it. I happened to be on Twitter or something, and I read something that triggered my memory. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, I guess I had an idea of what this was going to be. And then when I watched the show on Thursday, I was like, it's only 3 matches, and it didn't really headline really anybody too big, I thought. So I just not sure what the point was. Is this in competition with NXT? Is NXT still on the Tuesday schedule? Like, why? I just don't understand why.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I can only speculate. But NXT, because of the NHL playoffs, moves to Tuesday for a couple weeks, and they did good numbers. Like, we're talking the 800,000 average viewers that, you know, AEW usually gets on a Wednesday or something like that. Right? So they did good numbers on Tuesday, and now I can only speculate now that NXT's back on Wednesday, this current week that we're talking about. maybe it was a cross promotional thing with NBA on TNT. Let's just get some advertising out. Let's see what kind of number we put up. At 10 o'clock Eastern on a Tuesday night. Let's just see what happens. Let's just have these 3 little matches and see what it does. I really honestly think that's all it is.
Like it was a test, or just maybe
I think it was just a
2-hour commercial.
Yeah, I think it was just a little feeler. Cast the old fishing line out and see if you get a bite. I think that's all it was. Like I said, fair. Probably a cross promotional thing with NBA on TNT, because it was immediately after the basketball game and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's hard to say what exactly the motivations or however you want to put it are, but I can only speculate that that's what they're going for. And right. Speaking of the numbers came out, and I mean, considering they're on 2 hours later than usual, and coming off of NBA playoff basketball, this late night Dynamite still did 585,000 average viewers, which is, I mean, fairly decent for something that was only advertised 1 week out, and like you said, not having the biggest of names on it. So,
well, and I think NXT getting 800. And they had pay-per-view quality matches on there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty good for AEW, to get 500.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Well, let's talk about these 3 matches. They were announced the week before. Like we said, they only had the 1 week to really promote it. But first matchup of the night. Oh, actually, probably why we did 500,000 viewers is that we had the million viewer man on commentary. That's probably half the viewership right there. Jericho back on commentary with the boys, JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone. I mean, we've talked about this many times, but it should be mentioned that he was on commentary, but he's the best. It fits right in. But let's get right into these matches. First on the deck, we had Scorpio Sky versus Ben Carter. We were just talking about him. He had a great match with Lee Johnson. This was my first taste of Ben Carter, and holy shit. This guy is an athlete.
It's a fast match, eh? Fast moving.
Yeah. Like, there was not a lot of... I mean, we had some really good chain wrestling at the start, but afterwards there weren't there weren't any rest holds or, stuff of that nature. Like, it was kind of action-packed and, long. I can't even... I watched the show afterwards, so, all the commercials are edited out. I'm not even sure how long the show actually was on TV, but, I mean, all 3 of these matches were damn near 15 minutes, 20 minutes each. This was a long show, I feel like.
Yeah, and for them, I think total show time was about 50 minutes. So it must have been a 2-hour show. I'm thinking
maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this was nonstop action for, 15 minutes of a match. And like I said, this is for my first time seeing Ben Carter, and like he just impressed me. That was impressive.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this kid is going to be all elite soon. I'd be interested to see what he's like on the mic. But the kid can wrestle.
They said he is from some island outside of... He's part of the British Isles, but it's closer to France. They were trying to put that over on the comms. So, no offense to our English friends and viewers out there, but you're not the easiest to understand sometimes. So I am curious to how he turns out on the mic. You have very well spoken lads like William Regal, but then you have just the mumble mouths of guys like Pac, so it could really go either way.
It just depends where they're from, eh?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm interested to see if this guy's got the mic skills. Is he the total package? But he's definitely got the wrestling down.
Yeah, and later in the show, Scorpio gasses him up. I think that just helps his cred. So, yeah, I expect to see this guy in AEW for a while.
Yeah, that was interesting because I was almost turned off at that moment after the match. Scorpio Sky goes over, and then he offers his hand, shakes his hand. Good match, kid. And then all is well. Like, that kind of threw me for a loop because Scorpio was really building this. I have a chip on my shoulder. I've had to scrape and fight and work for every little bit that I've ever gotten, and what I've gotten isn't enough, kind of thing. Like, he's been not heel, but I mean, like, he's got this chip on his shoulder, as I said, and
yeah, he kicked down that fake door and everything.
Yeah. Brought that chair out, said, I'm bringing my own chair to the throne, and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you're back to the the blue chipper baby face. Like what's going on here? It would have been, if he would have shook his hand and then gave him a move, then yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah. Welcome to AEW.
Yeah, welcome to AEW, Punk. So yeah. Great
One
match.
last thing, Scorpio Sky's got to keep the cutter in his arsenal. Man, that is a killer cutter he has. Like, he floats in the air.
Yeah, smooth. It's like Randy Orton when he was 20 still.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the most anticipated match of the evening. We got
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay, the Queen Slayer. She's got a moniker behind her now. She's not only the Great One 99, but she's the Queen Slayer. And this all stemming from her choking out Brandy on Dynamite a few weeks back when the big Dark Order attack happened after the Cody match. So now I pose the question. Cody is the Prince of Pro Wrestling. How is Brandy the Queen?
Like, is this a kind of an incest storyline we got going on?
I mean, Hamlet had some weird shit in it, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, it just who made Brandy the Queen is what I want to know, I guess.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went with this just because it's. It's close to Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in the room when they were talking about this, I would have been,
nope.
I would have been shaking my head. No, don't do it. We can do better.
Yeah.
And it did need to come right away. Like, let her wrestle a few times. Let her come up with something.
Right.
But yeah, it's like they slapped this on there and now she has it. I'm not really a fan of it, but
feels a bit forced, right? Like, it didn't really happen organically. The choke out on Dynamite was great, and this little feud, the promos back and forth, their Twitter back and forths have been great as well. But then, yeah, you slap this kind of cheesy rip-off moniker, and it almost pulls back on Anna's momentum.
Yeah, and this is the same name as her finisher.
Is it? I didn't know.
Yeah, they're calling her sleeper, rear naked choke, whatever you want to call that. They're calling that the Queen Slayer. So
doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. I don't get it. But
whoever's idea that is,
I suppose.
Yeah, it definitely could, but whoever's idea that was, be better. But let's talk about this match. I mean, Brandy had a match. I can't remember if it was one of those tag team matches, but we gave her a lot of props that this is one of the best wrestling matches Brandy's ever had. That match is gone now. This was by far Brandy's best performance in the ring. And for it to happen with someone as green as Anna, and I mean, we know Brandy's quite green as well when it comes to in-ring, I was like, oh my God, this was such a surprise of a match. It was such a delight to watch.
Yeah, and I can't really put my finger on it why it was that way, but I thought the same thing. If I had to criticize Brandy in any way, it was the staying in character. And it's kind of like the whole Scorpio Sky thing. She comes out, she's, looking intense, all business. And then during the match, she starts doing the smiling thing where she's, kind of being cocky and sarcastic and kind of like playing with Anna Jay. Yeah.
Brand,
so, I mean, I liked when she came out. I was like, this is going to be good. And then, yeah, I wasn't getting this whole story after that part. But yeah, the match was really good.
I agree with what you're saying. I didn't quite clue into that while I was watching it, but now that you're kind of saying that, yeah, I was gonna say the reason why this match was as good as it was with two fairly green performers is that they had, intense emotions behind them, and at moments it was very, very intense. You could almost feel the hatred that these girls have for each other. But then you're right, Brandy kind of checks out. She's like, oh, I got to get this stuff in, right? Because that's kind of my thing, is I'm the cocky one now. I'm the only female with the action figure. Let's do that again. And it almost didn't work. I feel like Anna choked that part out of Brandy, and yeah, that intense Brandy should be what's happening now.
Yeah.
I think it all still makes sense that way. But yeah, this was a great match. I was really surprised about it.
Yeah, I liked that Brandy didn't come out with anybody. I thought that played into that intensity that, she didn't even need Dustin to come out. She just came out on her own. She could handle it. I liked the little fist fight before the bell even started. Like that just showed how much they hated each other. And I even liked that we had Dark Order, do an interrupt here. And
a little bit of a distraction.
I like how they did it where Evil Uno was kind of stopping Stu Grayson. Like Stu Grayson was on a mission and Evil Uno's like, no, we can't get involved here. But I think it was Paul Turner ends up still focused on them for a bit, and that turned into a false finish, which was a close one. And in the end, what we get here is the Queen Slayer. I want to say that's what they're calling this move.
I think you're right.
Sleeper. And Brandy goes down again.
Doesn't tap. She passes out from the pain, however you want to say, but Paul Turner calls a stop to the match. I like this move for Anna. It for someone who's, green, no offense to Anna, she's a tremendous performer, but, to do something like any kind of like a lift move or anything, you got to be very, confident in your movements to be able to take care of your opponent or whatever. This is a great move. It's impressive looking. It's devastating, and it's easy to do. I think it fits Anna's character well.
Yes.
I
think that's the main thing is she's Dark Order.
Yeah.
It's like a control move. You're putting the person to sleep. Yeah, it fits.
And that I just think it needs a different name. Like you mentioned, it just needs to be something else. But it was great. But let's move on. Let's get to the main event of Late Night Dynamite. We had Matt Sydal, the unfortunate one, as we'll call it. Nakazawa had it out for him, oiled up the turnbuckle. He slips on his big moment, his big AEW debut. But we talked about that in the last episode. But he's getting another shot to prove himself against Sean Spears, the chairman. Tully Blanchard on his side. I love Jericho on comms. If I can just kind of steal the spotlight here from these two performers, Jericho kind of almost stole the show during this match because he knows so much about both of these guys, working with them in the Vanilla brand, even referring to a time when Matt Sydal, formerly known as Evan Bourne, beats Le Champion in the Vanilla brand, and he puts that over for Matt. I think that's just a great little subtle touch. Never says the words outright, but you know, he refers to that he was defeated by Matt Sydal at one point. Yeah, Jericho kind of on a pay-per-view, no less. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. So yeah, Jericho kind of stealing the show on commentary during this match, but you know, Scorpio Sky, Ben Carter, great match. Brandy versus Anna, great match. This was just on another level. I feel like for me, this was an amazing match. As impressive of the moves as the moves that Scorpio and Carter had, this was wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, this was a professional wrestling match, which.
Yeah, and this match finishes, and I'm like, I love this match. And I look at my notes, and I have none. And I'm trying to remember, okay, like, what kind of big stuff happened in this match? And there wasn't anything like worth us, you know, talking. Like, there just weren't spots, but it was just, yeah, it was just a good match. Just two real good competitors. They fit together. They've probably worked together before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the whole thing with the slug and the, you know, Tully kind of putting it in there. Like, all of that was just, it was just, you know what it is? I think it that is a 1980s WWF style match. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was. I was just gonna say, you know who probably really liked this match?
Don't even mention him.
I'm not even gonna mention it, but I mean, this is what he talks about when he refers to wrestling in the modern day. There's no psychology to matches anymore. It's just spot after spot after spot. Well, we had that kind of match with Scorpio Sky and Ben Carter earlier in the night. It was a very spot heavy match. They were doing very impressive things, and it was great. But this was kind of that throwback. Let's, you know, we haven't even talked to each other. There was no promos building up, but I mean, we can still tell a story with our movements, and everything had a purpose in this match, and it was very well constructed. Right down to Matt Sydal's going to the top rope, and he like wipes it off. Like, was that planned, or did he just think of that like in the moment? Like, I thought that was great. I wish we would have got to see an actual shooting star press. You know, I want him to actually show us how well he does that move, because I know he's one of the best who does it. But you know, it's a tease, which I'm enjoying too. Like, we'll get to see it eventually. It was almost like Darby Allin when he first tries the coffin drop on Cody there, and he misses. He takes that bump on the apron, and then it was like 4 or 5 times after that he still wasn't landing this coffin drop. But then when he finally does, it leads him to a big win, and you know, now it means something. So I hope something similar is happening with Sydal and the shooting star press. But this is
what I heard about the All Out incident was apparently the whole ring was wet. Like, it was so humid, like the ropes were wet, everything was just wet. So it's not like he misstepped or anything. It was more that it was so humid and just moist that there might have been, I don't know, dew or
perspiration or
water vapor on it or whatever. Yeah, apparently it was just crazy that night, that All Out happened, and I wonder if that's a little bit of why All Out kind of flopped a little bit. Was just hard to deal with the environment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that incident happened so early in the night that it almost, you know, puts a damper on things, and now everybody's on. Discussion for another time. This was a great match. Again, we're not sure why we're doing this late night Tuesday night, but I mean, I'm just going to say it now because I'll probably say it 5 more times later on in the show. This was a great show. Even though it was only an hour long, hour and a half on TV, whatever it was. We didn't get to watch it on TV because for whatever reason, TSN didn't know about it. Tony Khan forgot to give Darren, what's his name? Darren Drager a call, and freaking Michael Landsberg, didn't answer the call. Like, I can't even think of guys who are on TSN anymore, but they didn't get the word that there was a show on Tuesday night and we didn't get to see it. So, but I mean, it was great. And it was a lot better than what we're going to talk about a little bit later on. So, but let's move on. Let's get right into this week's power rankings. Power rankings for Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. Did we have any changes whatsoever?
We had some, just not in the first 2 divisions. So in the men's division, we still have Moxley and Lee as our champions. Lance Archer, the number 1 contender, followed by Brian Cage, MJF, Cody, and Scorpio Sky. In the women's division, Hikaru Shida, still the champion. Nyla Rose, the number 1 contender, followed by Big Swole, Abaddon, Penelope Ford, and Britt Baker. And in the tag team division, we had a lot of movement. FTR, still the champs. And as we suspected last week, Kenny and Hangman are finally taken out of the top 5 picture, if you want to call it that. So I don't know if you can comment on this. Do you think this is official? They've been kind of teasing, they might still have some sort of connection. Kenny keeps coming out for his matches. Do you think this proves that they're finally done?
Yeah, I do. They were really teasing, like, we'll talk about it in a minute here. Hangman has a match against Evil Uno on Wednesday Night Dynamite, and it's stated during that match that this was actually a challenge for the tag team of Uno and Grayson to go up against the former champions of Omega and Hangman, but Omega didn't want to have anything to do with it, so it becomes a singles match. Uno gets the call, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is just all storytelling for this inevitable Hangman versus Omega match. If we're going to see that at full gear, if they're going to drag this out, longer the way they drug out the tag team run, like, who knows? So,
right.
Right. But yeah, I think this is the nail in the coffin. Is they're out of the tag team division. The tag team's dead. Let's move on with the story.
Right. So Kenny, Hangman out of the top 5. Best friends move up 1 position. They are now the number 1 contenders. I love this. Makes sense. Being 16-6, they've been the workhorses for this year in AEW. Yeah. Young Bucks move up to the number 2 position. Natural Nightmares move up to the number 3 position. Butcher and the Blade back in the picture at position number 4, and Proud and Powerful at position number 5.
Awesome stuff. Well, let's get into this train wreck of a show that was Wednesday Night Dynamite. I mean, what can we say?
It started with this first match, eh?
I mean, the first impressions is always so important, and I mean, I've put AEW over for how impressive their opening segments are. You know what I mean? Like, we always start off with a match where Vanilla Brand always starts off with a promo of some sort. AEW's been doing a really good job of starting the show off and getting everybody hooked. During the pandemic era, it was always Cody. Cody always started the match. It's always a solid match. It gets everybody excited for what's going to happen in the show. Yeah. This match, we got Joey Janela versus Sonny Kiss, or Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus Kip Sabian and his best man, the best man, Miro. Miro's in-ring debut for All Elite Wrestling. It's a big deal. There was a lot of hype going up behind this matchup. I love that they're putting them against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. You know, there's an established tag team. Janela has that history with Kip Sabian. They had a great feud at the start of Dynamite. There's the whole Penelope Ford. We get a little promo before the show even starts, you know, about Joey Janela, like, been there, done that. You don't know what you're getting into. I like how he kind of brings that real world sense into it. So, you know, when this show's starting, I'm excited. Yeah, it's all happening. This is going to be great. The match happens, and I mean, I haven't seen this many botches during a match since Goldberg versus Hogan. Like, Jesus Christ.
Was it that bad?
It was that bad. It really was.
Okay.
Like,
I thought you were just trying to be funny, but
no, it was bad. It was everything was like, I mean, it started off good. I'll give credit where credit is due. Joey Janela's in there with Kip. Kip's playing, you know, the cocky role. He's kind of keeping control. He tags in Miro. Everybody's excited, but then he tags himself back in. He gets taken away. That was all great. But I don't want to shit on Miro too much because I think he's great. I've watched him for many years now as Rusev and stuff like he knows what he's doing. But when he got into this match, that's where everything kind of went downhill. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's just, you know, working with people you've never worked with before. You know, Janela, Sonny Kiss. I doubt he's ever locked up with either of them. Unfamiliarity, but yeah, the match just did not flow. It just came to a dead halt. There was the weird spot where he goes over the ropes and he tweaks his knee. Like, that looked legit. So now he doesn't have the mobility that he needs. And yeah, it was just one domino after the other. It just falling apart.
I can't remember who he said this about, but there was a WWE guy that's in AEW now, and we were thinking that they're too used to what's in WWE.
Right.
I don't know if this was FTR. Maybe we were talking about this. So I'm just wondering if, you know, you're used to wrestling a certain way, or, you know, it's all mapped out prior to, and now you have to do a little bit more thinking now because it's, you know, maybe more called stuff, that kind of thing, and Rusev's just not used to it yet. It might have been even Brody Lee that we were talking about that. Remember how we didn't really like a couple of his first matches?
Yeah, that match against CD when he first came in was awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that's probably what I'm going to bet it was. And he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. And we'll see good stuff. But yeah, this was a big damper at the beginning of the show. And, you know, you're already starting to grab for your phone and you're starting to check out. And, and it just started. And you got 2 more hours to go.
Yeah, for sure. It was rough.
It's like having to sit through a beginning of Raw and it's Roman Reigns being booed for 25 minutes.
Right? Yeah, like it's tough. It was a rough start. It was an unfortunate start to Miro's AEW career, but like I agree with you. He'll figure it out. He's a performer. And I think he just needs to remember how to work a wrestling match, because they make a reference to it later on in the show. I can't remember where it was, but he's used to entertaining people. Now you gotta wrestle. You know,
Right.
he'll catch on. He'll catch on.
Do we know anything about his priors before WWE? Like, was he in Japan or anything like that?
No, I mean, I think he took the Kurt Angle route. I think he was an Olympic. I don't know if he was a wrestler. I think he was a power lifter or something. Maybe Mark Henry would be a better analogy, but I mean, an Olympian of some sort, or at least an amateur athlete. And yeah, maybe he's never done the indie circuit.
Right.
Maybe he gets scouted and picked up, goes in. He came up through NXT. And I mean, we know how well of trainers they are. But in the same argument, we know how high guys like Vince and Triple H get on people, and they want to push them now. Right? We got to start making money off this guy now. So, yeah, maybe Rusev's never worked a match, if I can use that term.
Yeah. What do you think about this finisher Miro's got? The game over.
I mean, it's the Rusev Crush. What did they call that move in Vanilla? I mean, it's a Steiner recliner. It's a camel clutch, whatever you want to call it. But I like that he's calling it game over. It's kind of cheesy, but I mean, it fits with him and Kip's. It's obvious they're both on Twitch and they're gaming and stuff like that. So I'm fine with it. I like it. I like his super kick more.
Yeah, that was a deadly.
I just like how he jumps into it. I like how he jumps into it.
I was just looking up his finish here. I can't remember what it is. It's gonna bug me now.
Yeah, it's gonna bug me too. I'll think of it like during the closing. I'll be like, ah. But I mean, Kip Sabian and Miro, they go over. Miro seems to get his knee back under him. He hits that big super kick. And sets Janela. What was it, Sunny Kiss or Janela? Who did he put it on? I can't remember. I think it's Sunny Kiss. Gets him set up for the game over, and Kiss taps out. So
real quick, Joey Janela and Sunny Kiss jobbing out again. What do you feel about this?
I mean, it's a little upsetting, but I mean, you can't bring a person in like Miro and then have him job out just because Janela and Kiss have some momentum.
For sure.
So,
but I mean, Lance Archer fought jobbers for like it was Braun Strowman-ish.
Right.
7 weeks of Billy Smith and yellow shorts.
Yeah, good old yellow trunks. No, I agree. I think the reason Janela and Kiss are in this position is because Janela and Kip Sabian have that history, so there is a little bit of story there, I guess. But it's unfortunate because, like I said, they had momentum, but altered a little bit. They'll get it back. The Jersey Boys always
the Jersey Boys.
All right, let's move on to another segment of the night. So here we're officially finding out as part of the show that Lance Archer's not going to be around. The 6-man tag is canceled. It was announced earlier in the day. Eddie Kingston's just kind of cutting a promo on that situation, that he is getting a title shot at the AEW World Championship. He's unranked in the singles division. So this is kind of a big deal. This is kind of throwing AEW's whole model out the window. But like we talked about during Breaking Kayfabe, it all kind of makes sense because the Casino Battle Royale at All Out, the winner was going to get a title shot. That was the stipulation. Didn't matter your ranking. If you won the Battle Royal, you're getting your title shot. Kingston, technically, never eliminated. He rolled under the bottom rope, never went back into the ring. You know the story. So,
I mean, you said that this was not a mistake. They meant to do this.
Yes.
This makes them look brilliant if that is the case. Right? Like,
Are you saying the words that Lance Archer doesn't actually have COVID?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not saying that. But I mean, it's one of those things that you can use this story for a lot of different things, and it just happened that, this unfortunate incident happened, and now, hey, let's play the card now.
It's like slipping that ace of spades in your sleeve for when you need it, right? It's just like, oh, here's our chance.
Right, like Crazy Eights, you mean, right?
Yeah, sure. War, miss a turn. No. No, that's not how war works. Never mind. That's Crazy Eights.
I think that's Crazy Eights, yeah.
I haven't played cards in a minute. But anyways, let's talk about this promo. Eddie Kingston. I mean, we've gassed this guy up on his mic skills for ever since he showed up. I mean, this was an amazing promo talking about how he's worked 18 years and his 18 years of experience says that he deserves this shot. What were your thoughts on the promo?
I mean, I like the references to WWE. Moxley, you sold out, and I don't know if our viewers have been, if they're in the podcast realm other than us, right? Because like obviously everybody's listening to us, but I mean, AEW Unrestricted Podcast, Talk is Jericho. Eddie Kingston's been on there lately, and he's been saying how he was being recruited by WWE, and he didn't sell out. He didn't sell his soul to the devil, as he put it in this promo, but Jon Moxley did, and I thought, like, that is gold, man.
Yeah,
like that is gold. This is what AEW needs: someone who can talk. I hate to say it, but raw like that.
Yeah,
brings so much emotions.
I like that he talks about how they used to run the roads together and they've been in fights before together, Moxley and Kingston. And then he references that Moxley sells his soul to the devil, he goes up to the land of entertainers.
Good impression. I like that.
Thanks. I was watching a lot of Enzo, so today the accents in my head. But up to the land of entertainers, and you sold out. All that stuff makes sense. And what makes this promo really good to like freaking amazing is that he calls out Moxley, and he says that he wants to have an eye to eye before we do this for real. And sure enough, the music hits. Moxley comes down. There's no pandering to the crowd. This is all business. He comes through the door he always comes out of, straight to the ring. They get right in each other's faces. All the refs pour in from the back. There's a pull apart, and I like that there was no actual physical altercation. They did the Eskimo kisses, whatever you want to call it, but they did the rubbing of the forehead, but there was no punches thrown. There was no real like shoving or anything like that. Like, let's save that for the ring kind of thing. I like that.
Yeah, and I liked how Moxley, like, he came down in a hurry.
Oh,
it wasn't the come out his regular door and kind of strut down. Like, he was getting down there, and he did. And it was a really good segment. Sadly, this could be the highlight of Dynamite. This segment.
It's sad to say that we're only in segment 2. We haven't even had a commercial break, and the show's over, or the show's peaked, anyways. But let's keep the show rolling on. Let's get into the next matchup of the night. We had Hangman Page going up against Evil Uno. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show, how this was essentially a challenge from the Dark Order, Uno and Grayson, challenging the former tag team champions Hangman and Omega. Omega declines. Hangman accepts. It's going to be a one-on-one match. Page versus Uno. Omega again coming out to do commentary and bore us to death with his non-commentary skills and his dodging of questions and stuff like that. I'm not liking Kenny on.
Yeah, is it a bit of like overacting, or I don't know. Yeah, like you say, he's intentionally going there and not answering the questions he's being asked, and we get why that is, but it seems not scripted, but intentional. Is that the right word to use?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like he's obviously not like reading off a cue card or anything like that, but he has the answers holstered and ready to go. Where, when Jericho's on commentary, it's very free. He stumbles over his words and stuff like that, so it's kind of almost legit, and it seems real. Yeah, Kenny very robotic on commentary. But what about this match? Hangman Page versus Evil Uno. I mean, when it comes to the wrestling, it was fairly good. But I mean, these whole segments it's still all about Page and Omega, and I think that stormy cloud that's kind of over them right now is distracting me from watching great wrestling matches like Hangman and Uno.
Yeah. I mean, I was distracted from the very beginning, wondering why there was no Reynolds or Grayson on the stage as Dark Order stood there and was watching. So I'm befuddled by that. I'm not even really watching the wrestling at this point. Again, like you, I'm listening to Kenny Omega do his thing, and then we get picture in picture this week. So we're back to that. And we know that picture in picture wrestling it's distracting, and if you are watching it, they're not doing a lot anyways because the spots are going to be while the show's on. So the real stuff comes at the end when Dark Order interferes in the match.
Right.
What'd you think about this part?
Well, I mean, it just makes things even more confusing. Because much like how Brandy kind of switches gears in the middle of her match and it doesn't quite make sense, which we talked about earlier, Kenny has been ever since he left All Out and that big scene of him walking away, he's had purpose behind his action. He knows what he's doing and whatnot. But now these last 2 weeks on him on commentary, all of a sudden it's just like, maybe I should go help him. And I mean, JR's telling him, like, well, you got to commit. You got to make your decision kind of thing. And it's just all distracting. If you're going to be done with this tag team, be done with the tag team already. Like, I love the slow burn storytelling, but I think this is one that I just want the payoff, like, now.
You want the cleaner.
I want the cleaner. I want it to be done. Have this match. It'll be great. Hangman versus Omega. And let these two move on from each other. Because it's just not working for me right now.
Is that what this match is going to be, Hangman and Kenny? It's going to be like, boo, boo, bee, boo, we shouldn't have broke up. And, all this stuff. Is that what it's going to be? I don't want to watch that.
Hey, man.
I want them to kill each other.
I guess with storytelling we can get to that point, but I mean, I guess if they did it right now, we would get the bee boo kind of match. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a bit confusing, and it's like vanilla. It's story for story.
Yeah,
because they have to have a story, right?
Right.
Yeah. I agree with you. Let's get the payoff. Let's be done with it.
I think what would work better than having Kenny sitting at commentary, putting us to sleep with his pre-written answers, is if he was just in the crowd and the camera just panned to him every once in a while, and he was just like almost studying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or even just ignoring Hangman. Like maybe he had Young Bucks there and they're just
chatting.
Yeah, looking at a magazine or I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Reading Killing the Town. But, I mean, that all works because in that first match, Hangman was really out there to prove something to Kenny. Kept looking over to him. Kept looking for approval. Kenny wasn't giving it. That works just as well with take Kenny off the commentary booth and just kind of put him out there for whatever reason. That makes more sense to me.
Because Kenny's good with the facial animated part.
Not so good with the talk.
Yeah.
He talks better in Japanese. All right. let's move on from this train wreck of a commentary.
Hangman wins that one, by the way.
Oh,
Buckshot
right.
Lariat.
Forgot to mention that. Let's move on. We get a call to earlier in the night, or earlier in the day, I should say. Tony Schiavone was going for an interview with the Young Buck, and we saw what happened to Alex Marvez. We saw what happened to that jockey looking referee, Mike Poser, as Matt said.
That was a good catch. I like that.
Matt's watching the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tony, I gotta give Tony some props here. He sells this really good. He's like, I don't want to knock on this door. Something bad's gonna happen. But he does knock on the door. Matt comes out. Oh, it's just Tony. Don't worry about it, Nick. I got this one. Whatever Nick was doing in the room. So this is just Tony and Matt. And I mean, if I can critique the Young Bucks in anything they do when it comes to professional wrestling, you know, it's their interview skills. I don't know what it is. It's fine. It's better than a lot of people's, but there's just something annoying about how, especially Matt, Nick's a lot better, but it's like Matt's thinking 5 lines ahead in his promo and he stutters a lot, and it's just, and then you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something about Matt on the microphone that just bugs me.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing as Kenny. Like,
yeah.
Like, obviously they talked about what this segment is going to be about. And, you know, Matt's pretty famous for, oh yeah, is that what you think? Yeah. Really? Is that what you think? You know, like, it's like he's trying to buy himself time for the next line, so he just kind of repeats himself a few times, or, you know, does the stutter like you just did there. Yeah, it's Nick's a bit more organic. He's slower. Mm-hmm. He takes some time to deliver his lines, and then he always has those really kind of quiet ones he slips in there that are always pretty funny. Yeah, this was a pretty weird segment, and you kind of knew where it was going, right? Like, right. You knew something was going to happen. And then, I don't know, it was kind of anticlimactic, did you think?
Yeah. Do you have your phone on you? Like, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, and even Tony was just like, but I mean, we're in the middle of an interview. And then he just grabs the phone, smashes it against the wall. I don't know. Do you think Tony just didn't want to take a bump here? I don't think Tony's ever bumped in his life. I don't ever remember watching Nitro and seeing Tony get physical with anybody. They always kind of left that to, I want to say Mean Gene, but even he never took bumps. He would get ruffled up. You know, Hulk would grab him by the suit and shake him around. But I don't even think Tony ever did anything like that. So do you think Tony just didn't want to do this? You know, was this Tony's compromise? I don't know. It all comes off really awkward and, like you said, anticlimactic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't maybe do a spot like a super kick or something like that, because they did that last week. But if they were going to do the phone thing, then I think it could have got there better.
Right.
You know, like, you know, hey, did you get my text? Or, you know, something to do with the phone that led to the phone, because the phone just came out of nowhere, and then it was just, he broke it. And
yeah, Matt's bitching that Tony's bringing up FTR, and stutters, durka. Hey, is your phone? Do you have your phone? It was just like, wait, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like it would have been. You know what would have been really good is that while they're doing the interview, Nick texts Tony, you know, and then his phone goes off, and then Matt's like, do you need to get that? Is that important? Or whatever?
Yeah.
No, you should answer your phone. Answer your phone. And then he brings it out, and then maybe Matt just smacks it out of his hand, smashes on the ground. You know, Here's your money. Go get a new phone. Whatever. That would have been way better.
Right. TK, we know you're listening. Hire this guy. He's he's got the storylines that you want to have.
I mean, I do my best. But let's move on. We're getting into another match here. We got the TNT Championship match on the line. Brody Lee going up against Orange Cassidy. I think this is a well-deserved title shot. Maybe almost early for Orange Cassidy. But, I mean, well-deserved nonetheless. He's the hottest thing in AEW at this point. I challenge anybody to say who's more over in AEW the last few months than Orange Cassidy's. I think it's a little early. I don't like him going up against Brody Lee, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. But nonetheless, this is the match we have. This is the match we got. What did you think?
Yeah, is it you didn't like Orange Cassidy being in this because we know he's not going to win this?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's just not... There's just no way he's winning this match. So you already kind of know the outcome.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And then the match wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
And I don't even know that it was really Brody's or Cassidy's fault. It was all the things they put around this.
Mm-hmm.
The Orange throwing his shirt out at Silver and Silver flipping out, and Anna Jade jumps on the apron and Cassidy puts his glasses on her. None of this was needed. Silver was a big part of this match. Like, he was constantly in the way and with the belt, and Brody's yelling at him and they're doing all that. I don't know. I feel it was all just too much. It's too much. Not needed.
This should have almost been on BTE. You know what I mean? You remember when we were leading up to 200 and we were just doing these goofy matches in the Bucks' backyard? Like, that's what this was. It was Dark Order being BTE Dark Order, at least John Silver. And Brody just, I don't know, pummeling Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy gets his moment. You know, there's a moment when he's outside the ring. Silver goes for the belt shot. He ducks it, takes out Reynolds, gets back, takes out Silver. Like, there was that one spot. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just overall, this match didn't need to happen.
Well, Brody needed to be in a match, right? Because of what happens at the end of this match.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe it shouldn't have been Orange Cassidy.
I mean,
maybe it should have been Will Hobbs. Non-title.
Right. You could have pretty much put anybody in that spot other than Orange Cassidy. I think this is a huge pump the brakes on Orange Cassidy's momentum, which shouldn't have happened.
Get Luther in there. That would have been a good match.
That would have been a really good match. It didn't need to be anybody. You know what I mean? Why put Orange Cassidy in there? It just it pisses me off if I can be 100% off.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about, I mean, we say it all the time. It's all about what happened after the match. That's why this was all set up. You mentioned it. God, when was that? That was during the Hangman match, right? Because they kept showing Dark Order. And there was this weird stage setup. It was something different about the stage in between the two tunnels.
Yeah, I don't know why I noticed weird crap like that. But it seemed like there was this extra ramp to the stage. I mean, I don't know why I really questioned it. Because we know whose spot that is. Right. It's only one person. But in my mind, I'm thinking, the C-Man he's got his own thing going on right now. He's some host of some game show. So
Right.
But anyways, I'll just bring it up. So Cody's back. We get the best entrance in sports entertainment. We get the full Cody entrance here, which I totally love. And Cody's not blonde anymore. Cody comes out in the black suit, big fat tie, and eliminates Dark Order.
Right.
Did I already say there was the best part of Dynamite? Because now I'm kind of thinking this is the best part of Dynamite this week. Is Cody back?
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy Cody's back. They made such a big deal about how bad that injury was. You know, and they were the dirt sheets were saying how long he was going to be out of action and stuff like that. I kind of feel like it should have been longer, but then, you know, JR does a good job of you know, letting us know that, oh, is he even cleared? Like, should he even be out here? So that kind of helps it a bit. But yeah, you totally buried my attempt to say how I called that earlier in the night, but you know, that's fine. It was as
what do you
obvious
mean?
as it was.
Did you say this was Cody?
Well, yeah,
coming back?
you mentioned the stairs, the extra stage, and I'm like, I mean, Cody's back, right? As a joke. Like, I literally said it as a joke a half an hour before it actually happened, as always. But I just wanted to bring that up. But, you know, you wanted to steal the thunders.
I wasn't. I guess maybe I didn't catch that.
Well, because when Cody actually does come up.
Let's talk about this.
All right.
All right. I always give you your props. I know you're good at wrestling. Like, this is why we do this show, is just for you to show off. But Cody's music hits, and JR and Excalibur like, what's going on? I've never heard this before. Who could this be?
Guys, you called Double or Nothing. Like, what the fuck?
Like, so I get it. They the whole, you know, prelude and everything for Cody's entrance, they don't do all the time anymore because it's, you know, it's an extra minute and a bit to add on to it. But come on, like, are you honestly saying you don't know Cody's entrance music? And
right.
I thought it was goofy. What'd you think about that part?
Oh, I completely agree with you there. It's just like, no, don't act like idiots and take us for idiots. Like,
yeah,
I said,
like
Hulk
you
Hogan's
guys, music hits and you're gonna be like, oh, I wonder who this is. I am the real American.
Oh, who can this be? Until it goes, bam, bam, bam. You know, oh, it's Hogan. Oh shit, I didn't. I've never heard Rick Derringer play that before. No, I completely agree with you. I mean, we know for a fact that JR and Excalibur called Cody's matches on the pay-per-views when we were leading up to it, when we saw those entrances. So don't treat us like idiots by like, oh, who could this be? Do something, just do it better. No, it couldn't be. Could it? Like we know you know who it is, but you still play, you know, the coy fool. Don't just say, oh, I wonder who this is.
Yeah.
It totally took away from Cody's big moment, but
they cut it off, which I was a bit upset about. We didn't get the whole thing. And then are we seeing a character change from Cody?
I mean, the Elite is falling apart. We've been questioning Cody's involvement in the Elite since Dynamite started. You know, since AEW started, has Cody really been a part of the Elite? Cody hasn't been part of the Elite since the first Jericho Cruise, when they announced the Elite. That's the last time Cody was in the Elite. But everybody's going through their changes. You know, Hangman is out. Young Bucks, they're losing all their friends. Kenny is doing Kenny things. And, you know, Cody's going through his own shit too. I like this change. Like, I thought it makes Cody look, I don't even know what the word is. I don't want to say good, but it makes him look good. Like, he looks fucking hard as fuck now.
Yeah, what did you call him? What version of Cody is he?
Oh, dashing.
The dashing?
Dashing
I
Cody.
think this is an excellent way to kind of reunite the Nightmare family. Right? If Cody's going heel and Brandy's going heel, then it makes sense them coming back together and being this unit. Yeah.
Maybe Cody
I hope
promotes
that's the way they
himself
go.
from Prince to King, and then the whole Queen thing makes sense. I would appreciate that for Anna's sake.
Yeah.
That you get promoted in the. Anyways, Cody's back. We don't know in what capacity, but we're gonna find out in a few short seconds. I totally forgot to skip to that scene, so there we go. You just saw Cody flash up on the screen, really quick. That's my bad.
My wife likes this Cody better.
Oh yeah,
She didn't like blonde Cody.
We'll put Cody back up on the screen for 5 more seconds. So
Okay, you can pause it now.
pause video. We're back. So right away, Dash is in the back. She's gonna try to get an interview. Anna Jay comes screaming into the shot, takes the mic away from Dasha, tells her to get out of here, hands it over to Brody. Brody goes on this tirade. You know what I mean? Like, he is all about the business right now, and essentially challenges Cody. Although he doesn't actually say the words, he just kind of threatens that this is what's gonna happen. But we're gonna have, the dog collar, the strap match, two competitors tied together with a chain or a leather strap, whatever. In this case, it's a chain. I mean, I can only assume that we're going to see Cody again next week, and we're going to get some kind of answer to this. But I love this promo by Brody, and I like that. I don't think this is the first time he's used Cody's words, but I mean, it was just very obvious in this one. While you were at home, I was here doing the work, making myself undeniable. That was Cody's thing, from undesirable to undeniable. So I like that little sprinkle of spice onto the promo. I think it made the whole thing work.
Yeah. And I think the only little bit of criticism we can have is it was like, is this something? Like, is this a challenge? Is this going somewhere? You're kind of just, I'm going to put you in this dog collar, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted it. I think what would have made it perfect is if we would have had, next week, brother,
Right.
I'm going to put you in this thing and whatever. So we knew that, hey, this is all right. This is where we're going. Right now we're kind of left a little bit confused.
Yeah. I think you mentioned it while we were watching this. Like, was that a challenge? Was there actually a challenge? And it wasn't until you said that I was like, yeah, I don't think he ever said that. I want to face you in a dog collar on a chain match. Like whatever he needed to say. It was just like, I'm going to put you in this dog collar and drag you around the ring. That's not a challenge. That's a threat. A little different.
Yeah.
It is.
So I think, just a little bit of criticism, but this could be one of Brody's best promos, best things that he's done. Like, now that we're talking about this, think of it. We haven't seen a vignette from Dark Order in how long?
Yeah,
they don't even do them anymore. What's up with that?
I was enjoying them. I honestly didn't even notice they were gone. Don't know what you,
because they sucked. They sucked. Once Brody came, remember how they sucked at the beginning? Remember when Brody was eating steak with Reynolds? Those sucked. So maybe that's why they got rid of them.
They were still vanilla. They were still doing the vanilla. Brody didn't know what to do yet. Whatever. Let's move on. Next segment, we have Matt Hardy coming out to the ring with Private Party. A little bit of a promo, much like the promo we saw a couple weeks ago where he was telling us about his health and all that stuff. You know what? Honestly, if I'm being, I don't even remember what this promo is about. The only reason I know that this segment happened
the Clue
is
segment. It was like I think Joe Blow did it with the candlestick in the dining room. Like that's what the segment was.
Right, because he got attacked last week, right? Like seriously, like this is how bad this show's been going at this point. Is that like I didn't even watch the segment, but yeah, I vaguely remember that I'm feuding or I have issues with Inner Circle. It could have been this guy and it could have been that guy. Jericho had a bad blah 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 blah. So yeah.
You were listening though because you made note of how we heard the word audacity for the sixth time in the episode, and we almost made this a drinking game.
Brody said audacity 2 or 3 times in his promo, and then Matt came out and he's like, Jericho has the audacity to come see if I'm okay holding a baseball bat. What's up with that? No, he didn't say that, but but yeah, so I mean essentially this leads to Inner Circle coming out. Jericho, Hager, Proud and Powerful, they're standing up there. Jericho gets his 2 cents in about how there's no way I could have did it, blah blah blah, whatever it was. Like, again, I'm not listening at this point, but this all comes to another big return in that he calls out Sammy Guevara. Sammy comes out at this point. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, like Chris kind of goes, you took out our friend and our brother and that, and we don't like you for that, and we blame you, and wait a minute, here's Sammy.
But wait, there's more.
Not quite the same sort of return as when he was Serpentico, but cool to see Sammy back nonetheless. And Chris is saying he didn't hit him with the bat. Wasn't him. So now we're back to this.
Who done it?
Yeah.
At this point, Private Party gets a hold of the mics.
Oh boy, yeah.
First impressions. I mean, this is the first time we've been hearing these guys in the ring on the mics, really. I mean, the first time they've ever really gotten any time. Not great. I want to say give them the mic more so they can get some reps in, but I mean, I don't know if I can handle that. Yeah, these guys are not good.
Yeah, we've seen them kind of maybe some backstage stuff or BTE.
Right.
But, maybe they were a little bit nervous being live. Yeah,
spotlight's on them. You're in the middle of the ring, the microphone's in your hand, and you got to perform, and it just came off a little shaky, I guess. And,
they should go to that promo class that Matt's running.
Right. Yeah, Matt and Nick Jackson running the promo class. They need to cut some promos on a couple of their shots that they're always taking.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't come off tough to me. And I think you have to have a little bit of swagger on the mic, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think they need to do it more.
They're 20-something years old. I think Cassidy mentions that he's only 23.
Yeah.
What a story it would be.
But he ends it off good. I like the ending to it once they kind of fumbled through it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, basically, it comes down to Isaiah Cassidy challenging Le Champion to a match next week. And I think he's... Damn, oh God. I think he actually uses... He uses the words, what if a 23-year-old beat Chris Jericho? What would that mean? And then something about being a bitch. How did he put that?
He's like, what if I make you my Le Champion, bitch?
It's not as strong as I remember it being, but
I probably didn't say.
No, you probably said it better.
Didn't say it well, but
you probably said it better. I think that's the problem.
I thought it came off well, and maybe it was just the reaction because they panned to Jericho, right? And he seemed pretty surprised by it. Like he actually reacted to it.
Right.
So,
I mean, essentially, we find out a little bit later on in the show that this match is made official. Next week on Dynamite, we're going to see Le Champion, the Demo God, the Million Viewer Man, Chris Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy in a one-on-one match. I mean, looking forward to it. It can't get any worse than all these matches we've seen tonight on Dynamite. So, can't wait for next week. Let's move on. We get another in-ring promo after a commercial break. This time we got FTR in the ring with Tony Schiavone, Tully Blanchard at their side. Right, you got to do it the middle finger.
you got to think about it, eh? I
got to think about it. It's like doing the Undisputed Era. I mean, my camera might be flipped, so that might be wrong too. Hand signals are bad. Matt Hardy, FTR, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. But FTR coming out. Again, this is much of the same that we've seen the last few weeks out of these guys when they got the mics in their hands. They're talking about how, they're the greatest. I mean, which they should be saying. That's their characters right now, and I like that. But these I don't know, they're all about these gimmick matches all of a sudden. Oh, Jurassic Express will give you a match, but it's not a title, and if you win, we'll think about, it's kind of a gimmick. And now they're presenting this 20-minute brush with greatness, I think is how they word it. So I'm assuming this is going to be an ongoing thing for them, is that tag teams will challenge them if they can last 20 minutes, if they can get to the time limit, essentially, they win the match and then they get a title shot. Or if they beat them before the time limit, of course, they would get their title shot. I don't know. It's gimmicky. Why? These guys are tough wrestlers. This whole gimmick has vanilla ice cream all over it, and I don't like it. We waited all this time for FTR to get their shot, and what do? They go right back to the vanilla ice cream. I don't get it. I have to think this is their idea.
I mean, the premise kind of sounds okay. Like they were saying how, usually a title match is a 60-minute time limit, but, everybody else only really deserves 20 minutes of our time. Like that kind of idea. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not the best. I mean, we got to give it a chance. Maybe as it goes on, it'll become a thing. It'll, be a little bit more entertaining in that sense. But essentially, next week we're getting FTR versus SCU. I'm assuming that's going to be Frankie and CD. And they're going to be the first ones for this 20-minute brush with greatness. But at the tail end of this promo, FTR gets interrupted by the newly... are they new number one contenders?
Yep, new number one contenders.
The Best Friends. And they come out, and I mean, they're basically saying what I just said, is that, your 20-minute brush with greatness is basically garbage, and, wrestling cliche entered in here. I want to see this match now. is how I'm just going to transition this segment. Like Best Friends, coming off that huge parking lot fight.
I think the rest of this segment was gold. Like this is like the Tully Blanchard stick the slug in Sean Spears' hand. It was very Ric Flair. You want a match? You want a match? Yeah, I'll give you a match. And then, nah, I'm not giving you the match.
Right. I just totally remembered what happened here. I honestly thought this just went to commercial break and that was that. I totally, like, I can't, for the viewers who can't see it in my face, who aren't watching on YouTube right now, like, Damien's talking about stuff right now, and I'm just like, the fuck is this guy talking about? Did this happen? Did this serious? I have notes in front of me. And, like, it's just coming back to me. This is how bad this episode of Dynamite was. I hate to say it, but it was bad. I started playing Tony Hawk right around this time.
He did. I can hear the clacking of his controller. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm
gotta
playing
get those,
Tony Hawk.
I gotta get those high combos. No, but I mean, yeah, I agree with you. This part was good. And I like how, yeah, you want a match? Yeah, we'll get you a match. And you know, the ref comes out, they're about to ring the bell. Dax grabs the ref's arm. No, you don't deserve it. And then the segment ends. Yeah, that part's very old school, which I like.
Yeah, and it's very heel, and yeah, that part was good. And they had that attitude. Yeah, maybe we just have to give this 20-minute thing a chance. It seems.
Yeah, we'll see how it blossoms.
It seems goofy, but
I mean, if anybody can make it work, maybe FTR or the. Let's see.
How many chances are we going to give these guys, though?
Well, I mean, they're only.
Or is it do we just need to see the Young Bucks? And
I mean, if we're being honest,
we're so frustrated?
Because we just want that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because when FTR beats the Young Bucks, we're gonna be pro FTR. I know we are. We're gonna be like the best tag team in the world, baby. Knew it from the start.
That's the prediction? FTR
is going.
All right, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
We heard it here, September 25th, 2020, as date of recording. FTR will beat the Young Bucks in their first meeting. Let's move on to the moment I actually started playing Tony Hawk. No, we had the tag team match. We got both women's champions, AEW women's champion Hikaru Shida teaming up with NWA women's champion Thunder Rosa, going up against Ivelisse and Diamante. And I wanted to take a quick second. We didn't get a chance to talk about this during the show because this news kind of came out after we recorded last week's episode. But the Ivelisse Thunder Rosa match from last week's Dynamite apparently was a shoot.
Okay.
We gassed that match up. That it was like, yeah, the match against Serena Deeb was great. The match against Shida was so. Communication, blah blah blah. We've talked about that before, but now she comes back up against a fellow Latino, Mexican-born, or however you want to say it, against Ivelisse. They have a great match. It was hard hitting. There's passion behind it. I think is some of the words that I said. Thunder Rosa's back. This is what we were expecting from her. Maybe the reason it was so good is because there was some shit going on, for lack of better words there. And it came out that during this match, Thunder Rosa did not take kindly to Ivelisse no selling some of her moves. And it took it upon herself, Thunder Rosa that is, to lay one into Ivelisse and basically try to tell her to smarten up. Ivelisse receipts back, blah, 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 blah. That's why this match was so good. There was true passion behind it. So right. Fast forward a week, we got Shida and Rosa versus Ivelisse and Diamante, and I mean, it was much of the same. There was a lot of again, I've tuned out of Dynamite at this point. I literally had to go back last night and rewatch this match because
we spent most of our time talking about, at what point did it become a shoot last week?
Right, yeah, we spent more time trying to recall last week's match.
And then the whole JR talking about going to commercial, and waiting for the commercial to happen, and it never did. And then you're like, you watch. He's going to say, you know, welcome back. And then sure enough, like 2 minutes later, he's welcome everybody back, but we never left.
Yeah. It was the
we
picture in
spent most of
picture
our
we
time
always
talking about that
wanted
during this match.
Yeah. I mean, no offense to the match itself. It's just the rest of the show being as bad as it was kind of made us tune out for this match. I went back last night while I was setting the show up for YouTube and whatnot, what we're recording here now. I went back and watched it, and I mean, this was a good match. It was a very well put together match, and the reason I bring up the shoot is that we got a lot of more of the same. There was some very raw passion. I can't think of any other word. What's a synonym for passion? But Thunder Rosa and Evilise, they have some shit they need to work out. There's heat. There's heat. It's heat. That's all there is to it. And we saw more
Latino
of it.
heat. Can I say that?
Viva la raza. I said that wrong. But Eddie Guerrero, we miss you. No, this was a great match. I rewatched it. It's unfortunate that this had to follow, you know, the truckload of shit that we got dumped on us in the past hour and a half. But I mean, this was a great match. I don't know what did you think of it?
I didn't think it was bad, and I think not even a criticism, just more of an observation was you can really see how Hikaru Shida and her coworkers essentially they can't communicate well. Like at the end of the match when they're celebrating, you can see Thunder Rosa like pointing to the corner, like, you go and stand in the corner and I'm gonna stand in this corner. Like they don't even have that worked out, and Shida doesn't know what she's talking about, and
Right.
It must affect things.
It has to.
It's surprising it's that good considering they can't really communicate with one another.
And I mean, we're not trying to take anything away from Shida here. She is amazing, and she's an awesome champion.
No, absolutely not.
But we were introduced with Shida, or to Shida, working with Riho, working with Emi Sakura and Yuka Sakazaki. I can't even remember what her name is. We haven't seen her in so long. I miss
Yuka,
you, Yuka Sakazaki, I miss you.
Yeah.
I miss those yellow pants that you got on. What's up? I'll never watch Aladdin the same way again. But you know, she's working with her fellow countrywomen. They're all speaking Japanese, calling their shots, and they're great matches. They were really great matches. But now everybody, you know, COVID, whatever you wanna blame it on, Riho's not around, Sakazaki's not around, Sakura's not around. You know what I mean? Now she's working with all the American girls, and yeah, the language barrier is starting to be very prevalent, I think is the word. She works well with Penelope Ford. Her matches, those tag team matches where it was Shida and Statlander versus Ford and Nyla Rose, Baker and Nyla Rose, like she works well with Penelope Ford, and that I think Penelope got a title shot at one point. Great match. So I mean, is it just familiarity with her in particular, or is it just does Penelope know Japanese and we don't know? Like I just wonder why she works so well with Penelope and not, you know, insert name here.
Yeah, sorry, that's a good point. I never thought about it, but I think you're right. Yeah, out of all of the American-born people, she works really well with Penelope Ford. So, I mean, it's not bad, folks. Yeah, please do not think that we're crapping on Shida. It's just an observation that there is definitely a communication breakdown at points, and sometimes that's going to cause some things to not work out very well. But I mean, she's learning. I've seen her in interviews after All Out. She did the entire interview in English.
Oh.
Nakazawa translated some of the questions.
Okay.
So her understanding of English,
Maybe
not
quite
there, but she can speak in English. So it's gonna get there, and then
she's young,
and then it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, she's young still. So I mean, it can only get better. I mean, I like Sheeta. Like I said, like you said, don't get us wrong. We're not shitting on Sheeta per se, but just observation, a little bit of a breakdown. But
and then when AEW gets Asuka, then look out.
I mean, I would have went for Kairi Sane before Asuka. Asuka AEW confirmed. All right, let's move on to the next segment of the night. We get a little backstage. Dasha back in the interview area, one-on-one with the Le Champion, and basically, I mean, we didn't even mention this at the time when Isaiah Cassidy clearly challenges Chris Jericho to a match. We know this was a challenge, and we know that we need an answer from Le Champion, not unlike the Brody Lee threat, right? So we get the challenge from Isaiah Cassidy. We're backstage with Le Champion, Chris Jericho with Dasha. What's your answer to this challenge? And Jericho accepts the challenge, and the match is made, and all is good. But then in comes MJF. And I mean, we had that moment a couple weeks ago at the beginning of Dynamite, and I said during our show, why aren't these two together more? They are so good together. And I mean, thanks Tony Khan. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for giving us more MJF and Jericho. This was much of the same. I like how they started off buddy, and then it's like, well, why'd you call me a loser? And they say it at the same time, and then they kind of butt heads a little bit, but then they reconcile, and it's like, you know what? You're pretty great.
I wasn't calling you a loser. I was calling the limo driver a loser.
I spilled bubbly all over my jacket. That guy's driving like a maniac. Like, yeah. No, this whole bit was great. I mean, it's I feel so weird that the best parts of this episode of the show was these goofy little interview segments and not the wrestling. Like, why was this episode so bad? I'm sorry, Tony Khan, but you freaking missed the ball this week. Anyways, I'm over it. This was a great segment.
Yeah, were you expecting these guys to like walk away again and
I was totally
say something?
Yeah, I was totally expecting kind of the split screen again and maybe, but I mean, we can do that at any time. Maybe next week we do separate interviews with each other and then they badmouth each other again. That little weasel, blah, 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 that overrated old man, whatever they're going to say.
Yeah.
But this story is developing and, you know, after All Out and we were talking about, you know, what's next for Jericho and then we have the MJF moment. Like, I think this is actually what they're going with. I think when it comes down to Full Gear, we're going to see Jericho MJF. I think that's where this is all headed.
Does this have anything to do with MJF's promo where he thinks he might have to be in some sort of faction?
Maybe. Does MJF join Inner Circle for a little while as an imposter? Hashtag Among Us.
Yeah. Do you want me to be in Inner Circle?
Right. This is the segment section of the show. We got a few segments in a row, but as we're throwing to commercial, we get some announcements for next week or for the upcoming weeks. It is noted that October 7th, the Wednesday, October 7th episode of Dynamite is going to have a 30-year anniversary celebration for Chris Jericho's wrestling career. Basically, it's a 30-year celebration of the Le Champion. I'm not sure what they're going to go with this, but I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do with this. Are we going to get to... It's weird because we're not going to get footage of the bulk of Chris Jericho's career because Vanilla owns WCW and WWE, and that's basically his whole career up until a couple years ago. So like, are we just going to see snippets of, New Japan and some AEW stuff? Like, I'm almost concerned on what this celebration is going to be.
Maybe some Mexico stuff. Yeah, him in Heart Dungeon, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I hope they don't do This Is Your Life segment, a la The Rock, and
You mean the highest rated segment in wrestling history? You don't want them to do that?
Well, just
it's
because it's a copy. Yeah, I think they could. I think Chris could do better. Like, I would rather them spend this entire week filming mock matches that look like WWE matches for the real.
That would be,
like recreate moments from WWE, but do it in AEW, like
right.
That kind of idea, kind of in mocking them. I don't know.
That'd be pretty good. Interesting. I'm excited to see what they got in store for us for this 30th anniversary of Chris Jericho's wrestling career. It's a big milestone. Not every wrestler in history has gotten to 30 years. It's a tough business, so it's a big deal. And 30 years later, he's still the top of the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's Le Champion. It's the demo god.
Are you saying he's the game?
He invented the game.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Also,
so that's 2 weeks from now, eh?
Yeah, we're getting close to there. Also announced was Wednesday, October 14th. They're reminding us that Archer is entitled to AEW World Championship match, but this time we don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Moxley or Kingston? Because that's our main event coming up. Right now, let's just get right into it. We got Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, AEW Championship match. I've said it many times, after the shit show of a show that we had, there was a breath of fresh air in this match. This match was phenomenal compared to the rest of the show.
This was a loud match. Like the chops. So we're gonna see Moxley next week. He's probably gonna wear a shirt because no doubt he's purple.
He was turning purple during the match.
He looks like Barney.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we alluded to it earlier in the Brian Pillman match on Dark. Like, Eddie Kingston is stiff, and the right kind of stiff. Let's not put any negativity on Kingston. He's the right kind of stiff, and it was obvious from the get-go that these two are familiar with each other, because they allowed, a lot of things that maybe Moxley wouldn't allow a Brian Pillman Jr. to do to him. You know what I mean? Like there was familiarity there. Moxley drops this headbutt, like an unprotected headbutt out of nowhere, and just levels Kingston. Like, you don't just see that unless you have familiarity. So that was there from the start.
Yeah, this was just a hard hitting match. There's no spots. Like, it was just chop, punch, chop, punch.
So, when we were talking about late night Dynamite, and I talked about how Scorpio Sky, Ben Carter was the spot match, and then we had the psychology match with Seidel and Spears. This was just a fight. This was every Ken Shamrock match he ever had in the Attitude Era. It was just, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you, and you're gonna smack the shit out of me, and then I'll put you in a submission hold, and we'll call it a night. Go have some beers. But like I said, it was a bad episode of AEW Dynamite. There's no hiding that. But this was a very, very good ending to the match. or ending to the show. It was a great match. We kind of get that resolution to Eddie Kingston's story about not being eliminated from the Battle Royal. He got his title shot that he was entitled to. And you know, he missed his chance to cash in, if you will. So, but this was a great match. I liked it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that kind of goes against this is that we knew that there was no way Kingston was winning this belt
Again.
I don't think a Lance Archer Eddie Kingston match just it just doesn't fit the bill for the anniversary show. So
Right.
That was the only thing that was kind of you kind of knew what the result was going to be, but yeah, I was shocked to see how these guys were just the grimaces on Moxley's face. I feel were not even a sell; they were real. Like after the 20th chop, like you could tell he was just like, all right, you know, grin and bear it for 10 more minutes.
Right. I mean, it just proves how tough these two are, and there's so many different kinds of wrestling matches out there. This was one of those kinds, and these guys did it great. Like, it was just a straight up brawl. Let's just beat the shit out of each other. Like, was there any spots? There was literally no spots in this match, but it was still great. Wonder. It makes me wonder how
bit
Meltzer,
outside stuff, but yeah, no, it was just punching and chops.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how Meltzer would have graded this match, because he's all about the spots. He's a spot mark.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting stuff. Moxley wins, of course. Bulldog sleeper, is that what they called it? Bulldog choke. Have we seen this before? I feel like we've seen it, but never put a name to it. Do you recall?
I don't, but it's the first time I've ever heard this move.
Yeah, that's.
But Excalibur's back, so we hear
Right.
what all the moves are called now.
Right. That's true. So yeah, it was a great ending to otherwise crappy show. Unfortunately, it's not often you'll hear us kind of badmouth AEW, but I mean, we're not marks in that sense that just because it's not WWE that it's great. You know, they had an off night, and I feel like we called them out properly, respectfully. You know, we gave them our honest opinions and things we thought maybe they could have did differently. So I don't know. I thought it was a great show. Our show was great. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Could you imagine? This show sucked, but I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah. But before we go out here, what did you think about the Starks spear on Darby? So,
oh fuck yeah, we didn't even talk about
if you
that.
haven't watched Dynamite after Moxley wins, all hell breaks loose. Lucha Brothers come out. Will Hobbs comes out. Darby Allin comes out. Ricky Starks kills Darby Allin again.
Yes. So yeah, there's the big brawl at the end. We kind of get exactly what we were gonna miss with Archer being gone with the 6-man tag. Everybody was there. I love that Darby comes out for the save. He gets a couple skateboard shots in, and then he like senses that Starks is behind him. He goes right off the ropes and then right into this spear. And I mean, we had a quick discussion about it when it happened. It was just like, hey, is that Starks again being unsafe? Or is this just Darby being over exuberant and just whipping himself back too hard? Like, it's hard to tell because it happened so quick, but Jesus Christ. Allen jumps into the spear, and Starks, like, this is a solid spear. This is Goldberg 97 type spear. And yeah, just the way Darby flies back, he gets caught high on his shoulders like he always does. Darby Allin, kind of the Sasha Banks of AEW, just folds himself into paper bags sometimes.
Yeah. She flexible.
She is flexible, yes. But yeah, Darby Allin, man. Like, what are your thoughts? Was this Starks or was this Darby?
I think this is Darby. I feel like Darby had enough time to react to this, and you know, a lot of people do the spear, and a lot of people do the spear really bad. And it doesn't like, you might as well not even do the spear because you're barely even hitting the person. So,
Edge, we're talking about you.
I didn't want to throw an arrow, but
I'm
sure.
sorry, but Edge has the worst spear in the business. Go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to say this is Darby. He's probably okay, but
yeah,
he sold it well because I thought he was dead.
It was a rough landing. That's all we can say about it. But yeah, I totally forgot about that whole scuffle. I totally mentioned it earlier in the show that Will Hobbs is going to get a spot. He comes out with the chair. It's like Will Hobbs is the chairman now. He's out there with the chair all the time. He evens up the odds, and I'm interested to see where this is all going to go leading in the next couple of weeks. We know Starks is going to be up against Allen. I think that's happening next week. That was also announced earlier.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so also within those announcements, we have Jericho, Cassidy, Britt Baker's supposed to be in action, FTR, SCU, Ricky Starks, Darby Allin, and Moxley will be on next week's show. So hopefully it's a better one.
Hopefully. I mean, they can only go up from here. This was, if like, brutal honesty, fair honesty, I feel like this was the worst episode of Dynamite we've seen probably ever. But
and we're coming off the parking lot match, which was, again, probably match of the year Dynamite wise,
for sure.
Everybody, I listened to a bunch of wrestling podcasts, and everybody's gassing up this match. It's well deserved, folks. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check it out, because it is that good.
Yeah, for sure. And just as we wrap up here, don't forget, we do offer an audio only version. If you guys are still listening on YouTube, we are on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Apple Podcasts, hopefully soon to come. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let us know where you're listening or watching. YouTube comments. Make sure to send in those Anchor FM messages. Maybe you'll get featured in a future episode. But again, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time next week. Peace out. And you know what? Corvette, you probably like that match, that psychology match on Tuesday. So you get a free pass this week. Peace out.